All right, everybody, welcome to Week 11, 5-Star Live here at Dead End Barbecue. Myself, Jesse Smithy, along with J1 Mitchell. We're going to be here all night tonight. This is our war room. This is something that we talked about last week on the show. It's an idea that I've had in my head for a while, and it just kind of spewed out of my mouth live on the air last week at South Doyle. And you guys kind of thought it would be a good idea, so here we are.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a nice environment. I think it's going to be fun. And like you said, I think it was a great idea. I'm just glad it was planted in your mind like it was.
So what we're doing here tonight, we're going to be tracking the playoff scores or playoff scenarios all night long based off of Week 11 scores. It's the final night of the regular season. A lot of games up in the air that determine playoff seeding, playoff pairings, and where people are going to be in the bracket. So a lot of big-time games on the docket for tonight, and we're going to have some live guests here in just a minute. The Kings Academy is here tonight. They have a bye week here in Week 11, so we got head coach Jonathan Sellers. We got wide receiver, running back, defensive back Jakeem Williams here tonight. So stay with us here on the pregame show. They're going to be joining us here in just a moment. But J1, Dead End Barbecue, shout out to them for letting us come down here. I know you're salivating to eat some of that food that they put in front of us, so after the pregame show's over, we're going to get to taste that. But definitely. We reached out to Dead End Barbecue and said, hey, this is kind of the idea that we have. Can you guys do it? No hesitation. Come on down, and we put you on the patio. So if you're out there watching, you don't have a game to go to tonight, come down here, hang out with us. Might have a few things to give away to you if you're a 5-Star Prep subscriber, though.
Yeah, so you got to be a subscriber. But no, Dead End Barbecue has always been that type of environment to welcome the community in. I remember when I was at West, I think it was my senior year, we had a breakfast there. We had a football breakfast there. So the pancake breakfast, that's what it was.
So George Ewart has always been a supporter of high school athletics, so thank you to George and the staff here at Dead End Barbecue. All right, tonight, as I mentioned, some colossal games up for playoff spots, and one of those teams is Catholic High School. Who would have thought coming into the year that they'd be in a position here in Week 11 to have to win a football game and have Brentwood Academy lose to get themselves into the playoffs? Now, what happened earlier this week, Brentwood Academy's star running back, number 15, is a sophomore, probably their best player when they came up here to Knoxville a few weeks back to take on Catholic, announced that he is leaving school. He is done for the year.
Wow.
So, yeah, I see the shock in your face. It shocked a lot of people around the state, and really it put Catholic in a really good position. Brentwood Academy, a 4-time defending state champion, is now without its running back. They go play Baylor tonight, and Baylor needs to win that football game, and Catholic needs to beat Father Ryan to get into the playoffs. So it was a tremendous shock around the state.
Man, I'm sure that sent shockwaves around. I mean, a lot of questions up in the air, like what made him come up with that decision,
we don't really know right now, but one thing's for sure, we talked with head coach Steve Matthews about it, and here's our interview with Steve Matthews heading into Week 11 game with Father Ryan.
Hey Steve, big situation for you guys tonight. How have you prepared the players to just go ahead and take care of business and kind of ignore all the periphery stuff going on?
It's difficult, but we've tried to talk about. It's a normal Friday night for us. We try to treat every Friday like Championship Friday, but the players know that number one, we have to win, and we're pulling for Baylor tonight. We're big Baylor fans tonight, obviously. But we've had a good week of practice. Father Ryan does not have a good record, but they're an outstanding team, and hopefully our guys know that. These kind of games concern me, but hopefully they'll come up ready to play.
Again, I know y'all are focused on the task at hand, but the news comes out about Brentwood Academy's running back leaving school, and of course they're playing Baylor tonight. And does that kind of give your guys, I'm sure they saw it, does that kind of give them a little extra spark that this scenario could happen for you guys? It
doesn't hurt. We didn't talk a ton about it. We actually knew he's buddies with a bunch of our guys. We knew about 9:30 that morning, so word was getting around that this possibly could happen. Nothing, it wasn't official or anything. It was just friends talking. But it doesn't hurt. Just when they lose their best player. But sometimes when that happens, it's almost a good thing for the team. They'll rejuvenate and kind of gather around. So we'll just see. We'll just we'll do what we can tonight. That's all we can control, and like I said, pull for Baylor tonight.
You've been here during championship seasons. You know what that standard looks like. some of those years y'all were 2-3 maybe to start the year. Looking at this team this year and seeing the turnaround that it has made, kind of where does it stand in that kind of scheme?
I feel like we can beat anybody. Anybody in our region, anybody in the state. We have to play well, obviously, but and that's another reason I'm just hoping we're getting in, and so I feel like we're playing about as best as we played all year. We're still starting, we're starting 5 or 6 sophomores on offense, and that just takes time. And I think we're starting 6 sophomores on offense. So it takes a little time to get that going, but we're playing really good now, especially on defense. And so hopefully we'll have a chance to continue that. And I'll learn from this next year of hey, every game in this region is absolutely critical. You can't have any slip ups, and so as a coaching staff, we'll prepare hopefully a little better next year.
Health-wise, everybody kind of getting back to where they need to be. I know Cooper had an ankle injury there for a little bit.
Yeah, Cooper is still out. But, again, if we get in, we're hoping he'll be back. And it's actually 2 weeks in this league, 2 weeks off. So we're hoping he'll be back if we're able to get in.
Thanks to Steve Matthews at Catholic High School for cutting a few minutes out of his day today. They're loose. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but they're feeling good about this week. They're scaring people in the locker room with Halloween masks and putting videos out. So Catholic has the right mentality going into this week. They should get an easy win tonight over Father Ryan. Father Ryan's record is not very good. Their statistics not very good. But still, you got to go out and take care of business. And you brought up a good point while we were watching that interview with Steve Matthews.
Yeah, like you were saying, with Brentwood being down with their star running back gone, for whatever the case may or the reason, like Catholic did a great job of just chugging through and pushing through and fighting, even though the season didn't start out well for them. And that was really important that they fought and they stayed in it, even though they didn't know this would happen, because now they're in the sweet spot that if they take care of business, they could possibly make it into the playoffs, even though they're depending on someone else to lose. They're in a good position.
Well, we talked about it with Steve Matthews in that interview right there about how in years past, in some of those years that they won state championships, they had multiple quarterbacks get hurt,
wow,
or they started off the year 2-3, and that was a roster with Caden Mays and Amari Rogers, and
big-time players.
He's been able to tell those guys in his locker room, look, I had a team 2 years ago or 3 years ago that had Division I, SEC, ACC players on it.
Wow.
We started out 2-3. We still won a championship. They get new life into the playoffs. You got to watch out for Catholic.
Yeah, they're a sleeper right now. This is a team you don't want to sleep on. And like you said, like it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And it always has to be the next guy up. Sometimes your star players aren't going to be there, so you got to show up. Or whatever the case may be, you got to make things happen. When playoff time comes on, that's when 0-0 when playoff comes.
So Catholic and Father Ryan will be one of the many games we're tracking tonight on 5 Star Live here in the pregame. We'll report at halftime as well and kind of keep you up to date on what's going on, not just with that game, but J1, a number of area matchups. We'll start in Alcoa. This game does not have any bearing on the playoffs. They host Dobbins Bennett, a 6A football team, but everybody's eyes are on Alcoa because they're throwing shutouts.
Wow.
7 shutouts in 9 games. 3.4 points per game is what they're allowing. Dobbins Bennett was undefeated until last week. They got upset by Science Hill and all the rain. So I think everybody's just paying attention to Alcoa because, they can win another state championship, but they're the team to beat in 3A, and nobody's scoring on them.
Yeah, you want to continue to be that powerhouse that you've been throughout the season, and you also want to go into the playoffs with confidence. So for them, this is just a confidence builder and a continuation of what they've been doing all season.
Moving on into Division II, Webb and CAK play tonight. That game is at CAK. CAK is a team that got a nice win last week, upset Grace Christian, and now they're in a position, if they win this game tonight, that they could possibly be a 2 seed in the Division II AA bracket. Right. Webb, not the best year for Webb, but the way that division works, all of them make the playoffs.
Wow.
So Webb can either move up to a 4 seed or even fall back to an even worse seed. So while both teams are already in the playoffs, that game still has big implications on it. Check out Carnes Beavers. They need to win tonight at Clinton, and if Oak Ridge beats Fulton and West beats Campbell County, Carnes is in the playoffs. I'm telling you, 5A is wild. It's crazy.
Wow.
So many different things can happen. I have all these scenarios right here in my hand, and Carnes is one of those teams. And I texted Brad Taylor, their head coach. I'm like, Am I reading this right? If you guys win and so-and-so happens, you guys can get in, and it's absolutely the case. So they're going to have to go on the road to Clinton, though, to do it. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for them there.
It'll be uncomfortable because between those two teams, that would be a good matchup, and that sounds like it'll be a fight. But between those other games, if they handle their business, it's very much possible that they can just float right into the playoffs.
And you see the scenarios there. There's only one where Carnes gets into the playoffs. West has to, again, beat Campbell County.
Yeah.
Carnes has to beat Clinton, and Oak Ridge has to beat Fulton. That's very likely to happen.
That's what I'm saying.
Outside of what Carnes. It's all up to Carnes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they
win.
handle their business, everything else is kind of laid out for them.
Yeah, so look at that Fulton game there. They take on Oak Ridge. Fulton has not missed the playoffs since 2008. Unfortunate injury last week to Tommy Sweat.
Wow.
Dislocated his ankle. He's going to be out for the remainder of this season, and into basketball as well. He's one of the area's top basketball players. So Fulton, probably likely they're not going to beat Oak Ridge tonight and miss the playoffs for the first time in 11 years. They're not used to that.
Well, definitely not. In their history, they're always in the playoffs. They're always one of those top guns, if not always, in the state championship.
Jared, can we throw those 5A playoff possibilities back up? I want to talk about one game coming up with Central and Gibbs tonight. That game is at Gibbs High School. And Region 2 5A, South Doyle is your champion. As you can see there's 3 possibilities. When the TSSAA puts question marks up there, and we got these from the TSSAA, when they throw question marks up there, that means it's crazy. I mean, you're going to have to go into deep, deep tie-breaking possibilities. So if Seymour beats Halls tonight and Central beats Gibbs, that 3 and 4 seed is going to, I mean, they might have to race out in the parking lot to see who gets into the playoff. It might be an arm wrestling contest or something, but if Halls beats,
out of the ordinary.
But here's the simple thing: if Halls beats Seymour, everything's clear cut. You got South Doyle 1, Central 2, Halls 3, Gibbs 4. But if Seymour beats Halls, and we've talked about Seymour kind of turning their season around, that's a possibility.
Yeah,
Central
I think that's
winning,
going to be a good one. That'll be a dogfight.
So we're at that game tonight. Halls and Seymour. We'll have live reports from there and stories, photos, and everything on 5starpreps.com. But you can just see how crazy the 5A scenarios are, and so we'll keep an eye out on Halls and Seymour tonight. We'll give you an update at halftime and then throughout tonight. All right, moving on. Grace Christian, again, upset a week ago by CAK. They take on Boyd Buchanan tonight to try to improve their playoff. I think West, we talked about them. They take on Campbell County. Campbell County likely going to lose that game and miss the playoff for a second consecutive year. Campbell County used to be the doormat. Probably back when you were in school, they weren't winning very much.
No, I didn't hear
Justin
much about
Price, Matt Price came up there. They had made 5 consecutive playoff appearances until last year. The streak got snapped and just had a rough year this year. But they need to pull off the unthinkable against a really good West defense tonight.
Yeah, if they want to make it into playoffs, like they have to pull something out of the hat and just make it happen.
Looking into 6A, McMinn County and Bradley Central will battle for the 2 seed tonight. Again, a 2 seed in the playoffs is going to get you a home playoff game in that first round. And looking at the region there, Maryville is obviously the clear-cut number 1. Up there in the top half of the region, up there in the quad 1, that Farragut, that is insane. Yeah, leave that up there, Jared. Farragut can finish anywhere from a 2 seed to missing the playoffs completely tonight.
Wow, that's a huge jump.
Yeah, and so what happened was Farragut got upset last week by Hardin Valley. They got blown out 33-6, and so now Hardin Valley, Bearden, all these teams could finish anywhere in the 2 to 4 seed range. I mean, look at that. Bearden could be a 2 seed. They started off 0-5 this year.
Yeah, like we never would have thought they would have been anywhere near close to even playoff talk.
So Farragut has a home game tonight against Jefferson County. You got to like Farragut's chances in that because they are at home and they understand what this situation means. But if worst-case scenario happens, I mean, it's almost unthinkable to contemplate that Farragut can miss the playoffs.
Well, yeah, especially, like you say, they write their own ticket. If they just handle their business, they can walk right in.
So a lot of things up in the air tonight, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. We want to kind of give you guys updates throughout the night as to what's going on. Hardin Valley, Morristown West is in that scenario right there in the top quad. Hardin Valley got that win over Farragut. They're playing really good football right now under their first-year coach, Mike Potter. They could be anywhere from a 3 seed to a 4 seed, depending on how things shake out tonight. They should win that football game. Morristown West is not very good this year, and I'm not trying to knock the Trojans. I'm just trying to – it's week 11.
Hey,
we know what you
just
are.
Being real, everything's pretty much set into place. Understand what teams are what and what they do, and what the possibilities are.
All right, let's go ahead to some more games. Loudon and Red Bank. That game will be for a #1 seed. That's a region championship game in Class 3A, and Loudon has turned their fortunes around last year. A really tough year with a lot of injuries. They're 9-0 going into this game. Red Bank, I believe, is 8-0 going into this game. They had to scratch off a game early in the season, but undefeated teams, Week 11. You can't ask for anything more than that.
No, this is like the battles of the bands. This is like the best of the best, both undefeated, and getting ready for playoffs. Nobody wants to lose, so this should be a great one.
Yeah, so either way, if Loudon wins, if Loudon loses, they're still going to get a home playoff game. Yeah. But, man, they could really position themselves nicely in that 3A bracket. Where they are in that quadrant sets them up nicely to go to the state semifinals and possibly play an Alcoa.
Wow.
You don't want to be in that top quad with Alcoa. I'm just telling you. So
you don't want to go against that giant
where they are down in Region 3 is perfect for them. They'll be taking on teams from Region 4 in the first couple of rounds. Gatlinburg, Pittman, and Kingston is one of the games we'll keep an eye on tonight. That is for the 3 and 4 seed. As you can see, Gatlinburg, Pittman wins. They get the 3 seed, and they'll go on to take on Johnson County or Unicoi County. I really expect, Jaywan, looking at Region 2 teams, Alcoa, Austin East, Gatlinburg, Pittman, and Kingston, I think there's a good possibility they go 4-0 and sweep those Region 1 teams in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, like you said, I don't see any of those teams being a good matchup for Alcoa.
How many times have we discussed how good Gatlinburg Pittman is? I mean, at best they're going to be a 3 seed. What if they lose tonight and they're a 4 seed? So I feel bad for Chucky Doak or Johnson County that they're going to have to play Gatlinburg Pittman in the first round, but that's how it goes.
Hopefully they handle their business and won't have to worry about that.
We talked about Bearden. They're on the road tonight at Science Hill and definitely need a win to keep themselves in the playoff picture. And Science Hill coming off a huge momentum-building win last week over its arch rival, Dobbins-Bennett. And so we'll keep an eye on that game and see if the Bulldogs can cement their place in the playoffs. We thought they were in a week ago.
Yeah.
We were congratulating them on Twitter and on the air. Congrats to the Bulldogs. They're not in just yet.
No.
When those playoff scenarios came out, it was like, oh, okay.
It's not over till it's over. And like you said, they got a chance to handle their business. Hopefully this time, having a second chance, they take care of business.
And finally, the game of the night doesn't really settle anything in terms of region championship, but Powell and South Doyle, region championships going against each other. You got to wonder what the coaches are going to show game plan-wise, scheme-wise, because there's a good possibility that they match up again in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You want to win this game to show everybody, hey, we're on top. We're 9-0 for Powell going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
We want to be 10-0, but how much do you give away game plan-wise going into this?
That's a tough one. I mean, that's not something you can really just determine. But, I mean, you want to do enough, like you say, to get the win, but you don't want to put all your eggs in that one basket and expose everything.
South Doyle wearing their throwback jerseys tonight. Their South of the River jerseys. We'll have pictures of those. We'll have videos of that tonight as we have reporters there. We have photographers there. They're going to be sending us clips to show here on 5 Star Live tonight. So check back at halftime, and we'll have some video clips of that. So we've reached our first commercial break. Stay with us. We got some player interviews and some coach interviews live here on set at Dead End Barbecue tonight here on 5 Star Live Pregame Edition, War Room Edition, J1. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Let's go, baby.
Stay with us. We got some player interviews coming up right after the break.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
Ones make the plays. The dedicated ones never quit. Weekend warrior or professional, all athletes get hurt. And when you do, Tennessee Orthopedic Clinic's comprehensive sports medicine team is ready to take you on. The power of results.
The 5-Star Preps Player of the Week is proudly presented by Smith Built Homes, East Tennessee's most trusted home builders since the 1950s. Smith Built dedicates themselves to producing a home that owners, their families, and neighbors can be proud of for generations to come.
It's all good. Live TV, except we're not on TV. Had to get some water, man. Joaquin Williams from Kings Academy joined us here. 5-Star Live Pregame show. Kings Academy not playing this week. Y'all made it through the regular season, resting now here in week 11. How good does that feel knowing that you don't have any kind of pressure on you tonight?
Well, it feels good. Coach is letting us have a week off, but we're also excited to get back next week, start practicing again, get back in the groove, start practicing again so we get ready for next game. Was it hard at all playing an entire year and not having a bye week to kind of break up the games, or do you feel like that helped you guys? Well, it's kind of hard because, we Well, I mean, you get bumps and bruises throughout the year. I mean, sometimes you want to rest, right? Yeah, but also don't like – personally, for me, I don't like taking time off of football. Yeah. I get out of the groove, then, it's hard to get back to it, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a groove. You guys have been in a groove really lately, and I know you had Zach Acuff who got hurt a little bit, and you had a couple new quarterbacks in there, but you guys seem to kind of rally together and get it done. How are y'all able to kind of make this last kind of late season push going into the playoffs, playing your best football right now? Well, we just communicate with each other. Zach's back now, so that helps us a lot on offense, especially involving our two quarterbacks. They did pretty good these past couple weeks without them. So I think we'll do pretty good going into the playoffs. If you guys are just now joining us, we're joined by Joaquin Williams from the Kings Academy. And Joaquin, we saw you in 7-on-7. We saw you making good catches, and we were excited about you as a receiver. As the year started, it seemed like you were making more of an impact statistically on the defensive side of the football. Why was that? I guess that's just, I love playing defense more than offense. It's always been kind of my role since my freshman year, and I just like getting to the ball. Yeah, but I type up stats every week. I sit at home in my recliner, type up stats, and now I'm starting to see your name climb up in rushing stats. I see your name climbing up in receiving stats. How has your role with this team expanded this year? It's expanding. Every time I go on the field, Coach Sellers always told me to be special, so I just be special, I guess. Yeah. All right. We talked about the bye week this week. You guys even secured a bye week in the first round of the playoffs. How exciting was that for y'all as a program to know that we took care of business, we secured a first-round bye, and that's big come playoff time? Well, it's very exciting for us. This is our first time ever doing it in school history. Coaches were proud. The school was proud. And I guess all we had to do was go out there and do our thing and be great. All right, I'm going to give you a moment before you pass the mic off to Coach Sellers. Sir. You got some boys here with you. Give them a shout-out on air. They're not going to be able to get up on the screen tonight, but who do we got with us tonight? We got Keelan, number 1, my little cousin. We got Zach, the quarterback. Then we got Jamarion Gooch, one racked up with the D1 offers. Yeah. So what kind of chemistry have y'all kind of developed this year? Our chemistry, it wasn't so – I'm going to be honest, it wasn't that good coming out the start of the season. But when we kept on going throughout the season, I guess we just started to get – You kind of feel connection. It changing a little bit? Yes, sir. All right, so give me one thing, and this is the last question. One thing that y'all need to do in the playoffs to make a run. Be great on the defensive side of the ball and give every single play of the game, and that's it. All right, man. Joaquin Williams from the Kings Academy. Look out for them in the Division 2A playoffs coming up. They'll have a bye next week. They earned that, and you'll see them in the second round. Joaquin, man, appreciate you joining us. Nice to meet you, too. Go ahead and set the mic down. You walk off. We'll get Coach Sellers up here in just a moment.
Jakeem Williams from the Kings Academy, one of the better players that we've seen in the area. Come on. Yeah, we're casual, man. So we got Jonathan Sellers, second-year coach now at TKA. And Jonathan, thanks so much for coming down here on your off week. I know y'all want to get out and watch some football tonight, but real quick, what changed with this team? It seemed like it hit its stride mid-season and it hadn't looked back.
Yeah, well, I mean, we started 0-2, and since then we've been 6-2. So it was one of those things early in the season. We played a really good Seymour and Gatlinburg-Pittman team, and we knew going into this year that we returned a lot of kids off last year's team. So we were expecting to do some good things, but you could tell that as the season went on, we continued to gain experience, continued to learn more of the offense and the defense, and then it just kind of took over once we got into region play, and we really caught a little bit of fire, scored a lot of points, and then here at the end of the season, the defense has really stepped up and started to play much better, and the whole team's, I think we're right at like averaging, giving up 13 points a game the last few games, so they're doing a really good job as well.
Do you think that defense kind of improved because Zach, your quarterback, got hurt, and maybe there was this sense of urgency, like, hey, we need to rally and do things on the other side of the football to kind of keep ourselves in it?
That could have been it. I think really what it is we're just we have a new DC this year. Aaron Kirby is doing a really good job, and you can kind of tell the last couple of weeks the kids have really bought into the scheme, and they're starting to play and do all that stuff really well. So they're rallying to the football and getting there, forcing more turnovers. So
yeah, I mean, we talk some of the members of 5-Star Preps, and we do text messages, and we liked you guys coming out of the preseason. We saw you in 7-on-7. We saw this guy, that that we thought, hey, this team has a chance to be special. You mentioned you guys start off 0-2, and then you lose your quarterback there for an injury for a while. I mean, the season could have unraveled. How come it didn't?
Well, this is a tight group, so I was fortunate enough to coach a lot of these guys when they were in middle school, and we had a lot of success when they were in middle school. So, I mean, all of them knew they had a lot of trust in each other, and you could kind of, see that even though Zach went out and it didn't start the way we wanted to, they continued to rely on each other and continued to go to the practice field and work extremely hard, and then we ended up getting our results. And then, like you said, when Zach went out, Nathan Hoffman and Garrett Weekly did a phenomenal job stepping in and really, continuing the production on offense.
So here we are in Week 11. You guys have an off week. Next week, another bye week. What do you do in this 2-week window where I know some coaches like to go back to basics. They want to get guys rested up a little bit, but how do you do that and also keep them kind of engaged and fired up for the playoffs?
Well, it was unique since we were going to have 2 weeks back-to-back. So the thing we did this week is we rested. So we gave them the week off as players. Some of them came out there and we did some small throw and catch stuff here and there. But for the most part, we just told them all, hey, take a week off. It's been a long 10-week season. They've been working really hard, so I think a little bit of rest will help them get recharged for the playoffs. So we'll get back to the practice field next week and start looking at, some of the teams that we might play in the quarterfinals. But kind of like you said, getting back to, working on some fundamentals, just blocking and tackling.
Last year, of course, you take over the job mid-season, and I'm sure that had its own challenges for you as well. How much more comfortable are you as a coach here in this second year, just feeling at ease? You've gone through the whole year and just taking those lessons you've learned and put them into play.
Without a doubt, I've been more comfortable. So I always give a lot of credit to Matt Lowe. He did a really good job at, taking me under his wing since I was 19 and helping me out. So in a lot of ways, I feel like I was prepared last year, but at the same time, you're never really ready until you step into that first game and all the nerves and all that stuff. So throughout last year, I learned quite a bit of lessons that, how I did stuff last year and now how, better ways to do it, or if I should continue doing it the way I did. So going into this year, I was a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident in being able to go out there and lead this group.
So where are you guys at offensively now? Is Zach back and ready for the playoffs, or where does that stand?
Yeah, so Zach got cleared. He actually played last week, but unfortunately he came back for a game in which it was monsoon rain, so it wasn't a night to throw the ball around a whole lot. So we was able to hand it off. Nikhil McAfee did a really good job in the ground game and, got our offense going. So he'll be back for the playoffs. And
Nikhil had 4 or 6 carries for 222 yards?
6 carries.
6 carries, 222 yards. Was it 4 touchdowns? I
think it was 3.
3. Either way, I mean, you have him. You have Zach Tilley that's having an all-state caliber season, possibly Mr. Football. We'll see about that. I talked to Jakeem about I type up the stats every week, and I see his name climbing up in rushing and receiving and tackles. I mean, you guys have some big-time players out there.
Yeah, we do. I mean, every person we walk out that starts on offense, whether it be those three guys you just named or Tyler Mink or Evan Whaley, I mean, every kid who touches the football can go score. And then where we've probably grown the most at offensively this year is the guys up front. So we returned a lot of guys, and then we bring in, Jamari and Gooch, and then we got an 8th grader that's snapping the ball that's doing a great job at center, Garrett Cogdell. So you bring those guys back, and it's a tight-knit group, and then you have the guys in the skill position to go score every play. It's very exciting.
And 8th grader Marshawn Bowers, 5 interceptions, leading the area in interceptions here. You told me, you said everybody's going to know this guy, and here he is at the top of the interception total. I mean, as an 8th grader, how special is that?
He's special. It's just like I said in the summer. I mean, he came out and started practicing with us, and then we took him to 7-on-7, and we were a little concerned because he was a starting corner as an 8th grader in 7-on-7, and man, he did phenomenal. I mean, he was guarding kids around the Knoxville area that are leading your stat categories week in, week out, and doing a phenomenal job. So we gained a lot of confidence in him, and then he's just a kid when the ball's in the air, he goes and finds it. So the kid's definitely special. Last
question with you, and thank y'all so much for coming out to Dead End Barbecue tonight and doing our 5-Star Live War Room special. And Jamari and Gooch, we got to interview him over the summer, did a story on him, and kind of told his life story, and because he was getting all these offers, and we hadn't even seen him play yet. Where is he in the timeline of learning the football game, understanding his body and how dominant he can be?
Well, he's getting better week to week. So, I mean, I think that's, one of those things that you can see the growth from game to game. And right now, the level that he's playing at is extremely high. So, obviously, he has a lot of God-given ability. And now, you throw in some of the technique that he's learning right now as well. He's got a great motor as well. So, I mean, he's doing a great job, and we rely on him a lot on offense. I mean, almost any big down, we're going to run the ball behind him.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan, again, thanks so much for coming out tonight. Great to see you guys. Thanks for bringing your guys up. Did everybody get enough to eat?
Yes, sir.
All right. How much did it cost to feed Jamarian?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'8" and 300 some odd pounds. So I saw him come out with some extras to take home with him. So that's always good. So thank you guys for tuning in to our pregame show tonight here at Dead End Barbecue. We're going to come back at halftime. We're going to look around the area with some highlights, with some scores. We're going to take another look at the playoff scenarios and the possibilities, see where teams might fall in the bracket. So come back at halftime. We're going to have another show and then one more show to end the night. We're going to have West High School represented. We're going to have Austin East here tonight. Later on, Dead End Barbecue stays open until midnight. So after the game, you want to come down here and hang out with us, talk to us about football, come on down. We got stickers, we got footballs. I got a couple shirts to give away. So those are the 5-Star Prep subscribers, just like you guys. So you got to be a 5-Star Prep subscriber to get a prize. But come down and say hello to us anyway. And we'll sign off for now. Check back in at halftime on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.